like everybody else, I've carried bad habits throughout my life. And the only way I've been able to eliminate these bad habits, me personally, is to quit them cold turkey. I've quit smoking cigarettes. I've quit doing drugs. I've quit drinking alcohol. I've quit eating sweets. I have quit drinking energy drinks, all of which have been done cold turkey. Weaning off of them did not work. What's up, dreamers? Welcome to Driving and Vibing. Today, I want to talk about habits, bad habits, and how to, tips. I'm going to go over tips on how you could possibly drop these bad habits, right? And kind of push them towards better habits. Obviously, we're going to start by saying bad habits is like, you've probably heard this before. Bad habits is like a comfortable bed. Easy to get into, hard to get out of. Now, of all of the habits that I introduced, the bad habits that I've introduced at the beginning of this video, there was 5 of them. All 5 have been, I had to quit cold turkey. I tried weaning off of them, all of them, and it just didn't work. Cold turkey was the way to go, except for alcohol. I'll explain that. Alcohol, I quit cold turkey. I didn't even try to wean off of that. I just quit a cold turkey. We'll get into that in a second, but so this is what works. This is what has worked for me, and I'm hoping that I can articulate some of my points to the point where maybe it works for somebody else, okay? At least maybe even just one habit. So let's start out by going through. So I'm gonna explain the alcohol thing. My wife got pregnant 5 years ago, coming up on 6 years actually, and coming up on 6 years this year. So 6 years ago, we got pregnant with our first kid. She couldn't drink, so she stopped, and I was like, I'm just going to stop. And I did, never went back. Now I'm gonna explain this one first. All of these bad habits that I quit, I will have to say they are linked to, I quit them. The quitting was linked to me aspiring to live forever, right? Be in full cognition for the rest of my life, be able to move around regardless of my age. I don't want to have Alzheimer's like runs on one side of my family. I don't want to forget anybody. I want to be there for my kids for as long as I possibly can. So that's a motivating factor. Now, the cigarettes I quit before, the drugs I quit before, but the alcohol I quit, and I know about the negative effects of alcohol and everything that I quit. We're going to focus on the alcohol right now. But one of the leading factors of that was it was not making me feel good. I started my health and wellness routine a year before, I believe, a year and a half before I quit. Yeah, well, maybe 2 years actually. It was coming up on 2 years. And with that, there's been nights where we would go out, me and my wife, girlfriend at the time, fiance, whatever. We'd go out, we'd have fun, we'd drink, and then we'd go to work out the next day and it'd be sluggish. And then, or some days we were hungover and didn't want to go. The hangover part sucks, okay? And it got to the point where I was getting sick of wasting those days. That's what I felt. It really wasn't wasting the days, but if I'm not getting my workout in, which is like a second home to me, if I'm not, working on my health and wellness, my fitness, in my personal opinion, this is me, right? I was wasting the day. And the leading factor to that was drinking alcohol. What's the best way to do that? Stop drinking alcohol or drink a lot less. Another thing is, this is me personally, again, I'm all about cognition. For a long time, I couldn't remember anything. My cognition was, I was very quick-witted, but I couldn't remember anything, especially people's names. And my memory was terrible. And I felt like periodically throughout the day, I'd started to get slower. I wouldn't be able to think as fast. I wouldn't be able to catch my words. And that bugged the crap out of me. So I told myself, I'm gonna work on my memory, I'm gonna work on my brain health and my cognition, and I don't want to get to the point where I cannot comprehend what somebody's saying and I cannot outwit them. That was my goal. Alcohol very much eliminated all that. It slowed my cognition. I didn't feel good. So that was another thing. Like, I enjoyed the act. I enjoyed, going out with people and, having fun, going out with my wife, and having fun and stuff. And obviously the fact that alcohol, quote unquote, makes some experiences more fun because obviously your inhibitions and your decision making goes way down the drain. But realistically, it's not a requirement to have fun. It's been 6 years. I haven't not had fun, right? But what I did have was in the back of my mind as I was drinking, I didn't really like how I was feeling. I was doing it as a social thing, and it's like, I didn't even need to do that. Like, I don't need to do that. So I used that as a motivating factor to continue not drinking. And ever since I have quit, I have felt better. I don't get hungover. I don't miss a hangover whatsoever. I don't even miss the fact, you know, I don't miss drinking at all, excuse me. Like, I don't miss it at all. And it's been so long that not a chance am I ever gonna drink again. Like, I don't have any desire to. I would rather be in full health. I'd rather have full control of my cognition at all times. And I'm fully okay with knowing that, you know, the act of drinking is not on the plate, but the plate for my life. What's on the plate is me living to be as old as I possibly can with full cognition, full mobility, everything that I can, right? So that's what I'm working towards. I aligned my goal with the ability to quit and quit cold turkey. Now, all that helped me quit cold turkey. I've tried weaning off everything else, like cigarettes. I tried weaning off drugs a couple of times. I don't talk about this very often, but I tried weaning off sweets for sure. That was the hardest one to quit. I'm gonna go ahead. And I've tried weaning off of energy drinks, not caffeine. I'm not gonna cut out caffeine. I'll explain that in another video, but energy drinks themselves, not very good for you. I tried weaning myself off. What I had to do was quit cold turkey. And I knew that I had to quit cold turkey because there's been experiences. So an example is I've gone to visit my dad, our whole family. We've visited my dad in a different state, okay? We've traveled from Pennsylvania, Philadelphia is where we live, to Arizona. That's where he lives. And it was hard to get energy drinks out there. And you know what I did? I just was like, whatever, I'm not even gonna attempt. I'm just going to lower my caffeine intake, like drink coffee, whatever, and I'll be good with it. And you know what? During my visits there, which would be about a week, sometimes a week and a half, not a problem. So I knew in the back of my mind, I could cut it out. It was the accessibility. It was the fact that I continuously had them, okay? And also, I would always request them to be brought back from like my wife, and so they were always there. That's another thing. I cut that part out, so it made it harder for me to get. And again, now, with the sweets and the energy drinks, both, not because they're not around, I don't really have any desire to eat or drink them. Like, again, those were also one of those things where it's like I would drink an energy drink or I would eat sweets, and then because of the glucose spike with the sweets specifically and the glucose crash, it affected my cognition, something I'm very much trying to protect. So that, even though my sweet tooth outweighed the fact that that negative effect was happening, I was having a hard time just eliminating it. And also, one of the things I should have told myself that I wasn't was that I could quit eventually. That's what I was saying. I can quit eventually. I can stop eventually. I can slow down eventually. And honestly, not the best mindset to put yourself into. Because, like, you know, that's just enabling me to go, and then eventually that was enabling myself to continue. Okay. I'm gonna touch back. I don't want to drag this one out anymore. I want to touch back on this periodically because I want to be able to try to really explain how I was able to quit all this stuff cold turkey, and I want to get to the point where I can articulate it in short form, less than 9 or 10 minutes, and help other people. That's what I'm all about. Mindset. I'm all about longevity. I think your mindset is one of the most powerful things. If you're not in a good mindset, everything else is not really going to align. And I think habits, obviously, I specialize in habit change and positive psychology. So habits are very important. Okay, so I'm going to try to work on articulating this. This is my first video to do so. If you have any questions, if you have anything to add, if you have any tips of your own, let me know in the comments. I would love to get the conversation started. Hit that like button, helps out the channel. Hit that subscribe button for more content like this. And I hope to see everybody in the next video. Later, dreamers.